don't have deadlines.
Yeah, but we probably should set ourselves up for deadlines.
Like, I've been setting deadlines kind of for myself, like, more of like hour time slots. Like,
Oh,
I'm going to program on this game for 6 hours, and
hmm
then get some lunch, and then program on this other game for more
right.
time. I feel so bad. About half a year ago, I bought a piano, and it's
hmm
because it was during winter break. It's been sitting in that spot since then, and
Uh,
I have learned one song.
huh.
I feel
What
so.
song?
Do you know Paper Mario?
Yes.
The first one.
Yeah.
Tuba Bluba, the third boss, the big guy.
It's been a while. Hold on. Tube.
He's the one who eats ghosts.
I had to look at the image. Because I didn't personally play it. I watched someone
Oh,
play it.
see, I had that a lot with a lot of games. But I learned how to play his theme on the piano.
Tube. Oh. Tuba.
Or Tubba Blubba, I don't
Oh!
know.
Him! Okay.
Yeah, I always loved his theme, and I looked it up, and it was actually like really basic. So I kind of
Oh,
just
dude.
learned it.
Speaking of, I also learned the Wind Waker theme
What do you play?
on the guitar.
Oh, guitar.
Guitar. Well, no, I don't actually play, but I was like learning how to play the guitar, so I looked up the Wind Waker theme.
Wind Waker had some of my favorite Zelda music.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great.
Like, by far. What was it, the Zelda 25-year anniversary orchestra?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
The Wind Waker section was my favorite.
yeah. Out of all the Zelda music that I've heard, Wind Waker is like my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah,
But Hyrule is nostalgic though.
yeah. See, that's what sucked about like Skyward Sword. Like, I think the thing that actually bugged me the most about that entire game was you didn't like you rode the flying bird thing, but you didn't ride it around anywhere. Like, there was no point to ever ride it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
in other games, you had your horse and you would ride across Hyrule Field, and that was awesome. You had the boat, and you would just discover an island, and it was super cool. Yeah, Skyward Sword, it was just like pointless, and it was really sad.
Oh.
I have I've complained about Zelda games a lot on this podcast, but I need to
Right.
say that I do generally like Zelda games. I've been playing the Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, and something I've noticed really cool about all the 2D Zeldas that all the 3D Zeldas mess up is like the help system. In all the 3D
Mm.
Zeldas, you press a button and like your little helper pops up and kind of gives you advice or tells you what to do.
Right.
Navi, Fi, the little pendant or the boat in Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
In all the 2D Zeldas, they usually had like a hut where you would have to like find it, and then they would give you advice for money sometimes.
Oh, uh-huh. I know what you're talking about.
But the thing was, like in Link's Awakening, there are all these telephone booths hidden around the world, and
Mm-hmm.
you go to them and you call this guy in the like starting town, and then he kind of gives you a clue, and it's very vague. But the fun part of it was you didn't just press a button; you had to explore for it. So
Yeah.
if
Well,
you,
then, if you need help and you can't get any further, like,
but
I feel like,
it was actually fun to go there. It was more interesting than just pressing a button.
if you say so.
I,
I don't know, I've
I
never tried it out, so I don't know, like, I'd get a little frustrated.
well, the thing is, they're not like very hard to find. And you have a map that like marks the places, and they're usually close by to warp points.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt nicer than like pressing a button. Like no one liked Navi on Ocarina of Time, really.
Yeah, that's the joke,
And
like, of the whole series.
I actually liked Midna a lot in Twilight Princess because she had personality.
She was the one with the big blocky thing on her head, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
And she was so cute. And then Fi in
Zoe and Sama found her cute, too.
what?
Zone Sama found her cute too.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Zone Sama can find anything cute. But what was it? Fee in Skyward Sword. She was so annoying. There's a 90% chance that gathering hearts replenishes your health. Shut up! She would never say anything useful.
Right, like why would you even care about that?
And it never was like, if you do this, this happens. It was always like, there's a 60% chance jumping off this ledge will yield good things. And it's just like, is that telling me to jump off the ledge, or is it a bad thing? What are you doing?
Yeah. It's like the girlfriend you never want.
But you're stuck with.
Because like you accidentally proposed to her, and now she won't.
It's like the wife you can't get rid of.
Like, what did I do?
It's the wife you can't get rid of for the insurance money. Oh my god. Have you been playing anything this summer? Wait, I just realized. I should introduce you. First, I'm Robert Lauer. I'm now a junior at the Cleveland Institute of Art. And this is Margaret Lee, our special guest for this month. And she is a senior at the Cleveland Institute of Art. See, we got someone from a different grade than us for once. And by us, it's only me and her this time.
And then after I graduate, I'll be gone.
Well, you won't. Yeah, you will be gone because there's so many game design jobs in Cleveland. There's like two.
Like app companies.
Well, I mean, there's not. Someone was telling me there's a small Well, there's what is it? I want to say Blue Frog. They're in Akron, my hometown, which is only an hour south of Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then there's a studio that previous CIA students, I think, actually started up, or they work for now, and I think they're like web games, which is primarily what I work on. So.
Right.
I can
do you mean like Congregate stuff and like? That's cool.
And I mean, there's a big market for that stuff now, especially with mobile games. Is if you design them the right way, that you can port them over to mobile, Android, and web all at the same time.
Game Maker, huh?
Yeah. Game Maker's not the only one, and I think I've mentioned it before. I don't like Game Maker.
It's aight.
So Game Maker has power to it, but oh my god, I hate its user interface.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'd rather they use words to tell me where everything is rather than pictures, because I'm not going to remember what all the pictures mean.
And
I mean, like, Civilizations does that, but there's like only 5 options in the menu. Like, I don't know.
Because we're mostly artists and designers, not intensive programmers, and that's what these engines are really made for. I use Stencil.
Yeah.
I use Stencil. That's what I made the Global Game Jam game in. And the coding blocks in that are a lot easier to understand. It feels more like actual programming compared to Game Maker. Like when the drag and drop.
Has its own unique language.
And
whereas like other big, programs they use like C# and Java.
Yeah, Stencil it used to be Java, and now it ported over into AS3, and it can also port into HTML5. And you can make iOS games, which is what I'm most interested in. But I mean, there's always so many limitations. I remember during Global Game Jam, I was like, all I want to do is this. And what's even worse is Game Maker sometimes has that one block that does exactly what I need, and I'm just trying to think of how to recreate that block with all of my little blocks. I'm just like, Game Maker, you have that one thing I need, and everything else sucks.
Right.
Whatever. And I mean, Game Maker isn't bad. It's a preference kind of.
Well,
thing.
it's just the first thing that we were really taught. So.
See, I
I
taught
don't.
when I went to Kent State for a year and I took a C++ programming course there, and then I started learning AS3 because I was like, wait, why am I learning C++? I should kind of start off small, shouldn't I?
Well, no, actually, learning C++ and C# is actually one of the best things you could do because in our program, like, we don't really focus not too much on coding. So
Well,
the fact that you can do art and programming means that your job, scope is a lot bigger.
it's nice. I mean, I don't want to I understand programming logic, and that's what I've learned. But C++ is it's a really complex language. You can do anything in it, but it's like the hardest language that is, as far as I know. And then AS3 is pretty simple, and it made small stuff. And programming logic is the same over every single thing. Everything, there's functions, there's variables, there's if statements, there's true or false, and that works in every language. It's just kind of learning the syntax, and that's what I hate. I hate syntax.
Yeah.
I got a bad grade on a project once because I forgot a period, and it was my program wouldn't run because I didn't put a period somewhere in the middle.
Dang.
And the coding thing I had didn't call attention to it because AS3 will do it. Stencil does a good job of it. It'll highlight where there's a problem.
Java, certain Java readers will do that too. They'll mark where it's wrong.
A lot of things are getting a lot better with that, and color coding and everything like that. But oh my god, I was so upset. If I would have deleted the period, it would have worked because it was working at one point. But no, I was missing the period. I had it there at one point. I think I deleted it and then exported it, by accident or something.
Right.
And I was so upset because that's what I turned in. And that's what I get the grade on.
My beta of existence is semicolons.
Yes. See, Stencil doesn't have to deal with those. Stencil still has a lot of limitations, though. But the thing is, I mean, you could work around them a lot easier than you could in Game Maker, I feel.
Right.
It's very custom for artists, which is why I'm using it. And it's cheap. I can export games
That's important for art students.
Yeah. It's college students in general.
Well, I mean, not all.
We have the most expensive colleges in the world.
Yeah, but if you're born in the 1%, it doesn't matter, does it?
I wasn't born in the 1%.
I wasn't saying that you were. Politics.
I wish I was Batman.
We all were. I wish I was.
No, I like my mom. I want to keep her.
But Batman can just be Batman.
So why isn't Daredevil named Batman?
Because the guy isn't rich and he still has his dad. No, his dad died.
Yeah, but Daredevil
right?
Daredevil is blind and uses sonar.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean.
I think Batman came out before Daredevil. Otherwise, I feel like Daredevil's name would have been Batman, and because it's Marvel, DC, everything. Because I feel like that. Don't you wave that at me? I feel like wearing an all-black costume would have worked better for his character as well.
But he's supposed to be like a normal, everyday, looking guy, trying to pass off as a lawyer, you know.
Oh, is that why he wears a bright red leotard? You got me. Did you know there's a Phoenix Wright game? Or no?
What? Oh, you mean the movie?
Yes.
The live-action movie, yes. I was like,
I just learned about
yes, I do know of a game called Phoenix Wright, and it's just one of the most referenced games, on Tumblr, and you know.
Objection! No, I just heard there was a movie, and now I really want to see it, because all I saw was a clip of, the audience, falling over for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's brilliant! I'm sure the movie's terrible, but, yeah. hopefully we will get a good video game movie with the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Oh, I heard they were working on that.
Yeah, I think it's coming out 2016.
I don't
know.
know.
I've always thought Ratchet and Clank would be like one of the only game series to make like a good TV show or movie.
I don't know. Never played the game.
Oh,
I can't really give you much input on that.
what do you even do? I haven't played any game like past. I don't think I've played any game past like 2012.
Really? See, the thing is, I had an N6. No, I had the NES, and then the next thing I got was a GameCube, and then I jumped to a PS3.
Yeah.
And then I just recently bought a PS2, so I'm trying to like catch up. I got Prince of Persia. I have I have that Bully game that I heard was actually really good.
I have never played that game or ever seen anything about it, and all I've ever heard was that it was really good, but I know nothing about that game.
I should try it and see what it's like.
I had a PS2 and then it got broken like the next week. And but the thing was, what broke on it was the disk drive wouldn't eject. So whatever game was stuck in there, I was stuck with, and it was Ratchet and Clank. So yeah.
you had the one that inserted, like, I have one that you just open the lid.
Yeah, mine popped out. It was an older one, and then I eventually got a new PS2, and it has the flip lid and it's like thinner and everything. The newest console I have is the Wii, and I mean my iPad.
If that counts nowadays.
I count it. That's why I want to develop games for it more.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cool things you can do with a touchscreen that aren't done.
Yeah, but there's like one thing about translating hand movements and like translating, button inputs. To me, I personally prefer console controls because you get more solid like feedback with just a set of buttons. But
that can be true.
It's just that like with iPads, I feel like you limit yourself in some ways of like the complexities of what you can do.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I feel like some developers have tried to design games as if they're still designing them for like a console or a computer. When you approach an iPad, you have to design it specifically for the iPad. And I feel like when you design it that way, it feels a lot more solid because you designed it that way.
Right. And like the game mechanic works because you know the platform of your game.
Mm-hmm. Like the more you know about what you're doing, the better it'll be.
Yeah.
I don't like on-screen like buttons. Like I don't like joystick. Like a joystick on an iPad is just stupid to me.
They mess up, like they take up space where the whole point of iPads is you need to see like the whole screen. There's one game that actually did do well, I think, and I haven't played it in so long. It's like this wizard game where you choose like a witch or a wizard, and you have an element, and it's basically like a
Magica? Is it Magica?
Let me look it up because like they have the control on the screen, and basically you have to hold it down and move it around.
Yeah, you can. That's one thing Stencil actually supports, which is cool, is joystick. And I mean, I don't think it's bad, but I feel like a lot of games that use it could have done something different.
Right.
Like they were trying too much to design it as a different kind of game when. But like an iPad has infinite space technically.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many cool things you can do with it, in my opinion, and I want to try and do them. Some of them will probably fail.
This is.
I also like the market for it. I just hate Apple.
Yeah. Apple. Well, you can always move to Google Play.
Yeah.
I heard Google Play is a lot nicer to like game developers, and like their whole system of how how games can be published is a lot better than Apple. But Apple is just more popular. So.
Well, can you go from Google Play to the iTunes store though, or like the App Store?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Like, well, I just like, you know how some games like this was like a couple years back, so I don't know if things changed, but there were some games that you could get for free on Google Play.
Oh,
or like for the Droid.
I know I got Angry Birds for free from Google Play.
Yeah, but I think that's just because they don't charge as much for like, from the developers.
Mm-hmm.
But that I haven't looked into it. It's just like what I've heard.
Yeah, the developer fee from Stencil and the iOS together, I think, is around $300 a year,
Mm-hmm.
which is close to how much I'd be making from it.
Hey, you never know.
Could
be the next Flappy Bird.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. There was nothing wrong with Flappy Bird. I mean, yeah, it was kind of like it was making fun of Mario in some ways, but it was a simple game that for some reason became super addictive. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as you do something good with the money.
I think he just cut loose and ran away with the money.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know. I think his whole statement was like BS.
I don't remember what it was. I remember he took it down because he was sick of harassment or something. Whatever. Reminds me a little bit of Phil Fish.
I don't like Phil Fish at all. Like, I don't get why everyone. Just because he made one good game does not mean he's a good game designer.
No, I don't think he's a terrible person. I just think he was an ass. He made an ass out of himself. It's like he was a very strongly opinionated person. That's not bad. A lot of great game designers are very strongly opinionated. Mm-hmm. But he was an ass about how he presented his opinions.
Yeah.
And when you do that on the internet, you should expect what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say it on Twitter if you don't want to get reamed for it.
Yeah. See, he's just his whole Twitter is just him being an angry 4-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's just so unprofessional and oh, you wasted so many years working on Fez 2 and then you just quit because you get a little couple of negative feedback, which is how the world is. You're gonna get negative feedback.
It's even more sad because then when you watch Indie Game the movie and he's one of the 3 key guys.
And you're just oh, you're just confirming my whole opinion of you.
And he wasn't a super asshole in that. In the movie,
he was.
But there were certain moments where I was like, okay, I can empathize with you. This does suck. You're an indie developer, but
he's angry because he's angry from the environment of him being an indie developer. But he chose his own path of being an indie developer. You should have known what it was like. You think you're protected by a company because you're not because you're indie.
A lot of people say the only person they like in that movie was Ed McMillan, the guy who did Meat Boy.
Yeah. Those are my favorite. But I actually like the Braid guy too.
Jonathan Blow. That's what I was going to say. I like Jonathan Blow. A lot of people say he's pretentious, and you know what?
He is. I think his views on what gaming is very mature, and it's
exactly.
True.
And the industry needs some people like him.
Yeah.
I like his lifestyle. He's a very minimalist person. Mm. He had to rent furniture for his apartment during that interview, I believe, in the movie, because they didn't have. The only thing he bought with the money from Braid was a new car. Everything else went into making his next game and paying for his house and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He pretty much, his apartment is I think it's just a bed, a standing desk, and his computer. He's a really interesting guy. And Ed McMillan is just the kind of guy I would want to chill with.
Yeah. Now he seems, especially all the artwork they showed during mm-hmm. It's really cool.
I mean, yeah. And he gets a different programmer for every single game.
He does.
Pretty
I
much.
haven't really followed his games, but
have you ever played any of his Flash games?
No.
The thing is, his story actually is like a pick-me-up for me as a designer often, because if you look on his Newgrounds page, like almost all the first games he made were like rated terribly.
Oh.
And and they weren't really games. It was him kind of learning and just messing around. And then he finally started to get to make games, and they show some of them in Indie Game the Movie, and they're really nice.
Oh, you mean the little the penis thing?
Oh, the Skewer?
Yeah, he had like a penis game.
I'm sure. He had one where you dress a dead baby.
Oh.
He had like 10 where you dress a dead baby.
Oh, jeez.
Then he had Spewer, which is like really fun. And then he had, I can't remember the name of it, but you play as like an alien who like licks on the planets and you're like helping everybody. Like they show that one.
Oh, and then you end up, he ends up being like lost himself or something like that.
And then when you come back to your own planet, it's like super tiny and you break it.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, it's so cool. And then there's Binding of Isaac and everything like that. He's an interesting developer, and I really like him. Mm-hmm. I like his tattoos.
Yeah, he did have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, they were cool tattoos. I want tattoos, but they're money. Like, all the ones I want are expensive to get. Like, I want my back. I just want my back completely, like, tattooed.
Of what?
So, my partner, girlfriend, whatever, Izzy, I've mentioned her enough times on this podcast. So, Izzy was doing a design because she does a lot of Celtic artwork.
Oh, okay.
And I play Irish Celtic sport hurling, and I was going to get just like 2 wolves, like Celtic style wolves, like circling around each other, one white, one black, kind of a yin yang, and then like just with Celtic knots all over the place. Because it's just really intricate and it's really big, so it'd be upwards of like $200 to $500. And I don't got that money until I'm out of college, and even then I still don't have that money.
Right.
For now.
You will have money, right? Right?
Yeah. We're not going to talk about how I'm going to get it, but I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
So
speaking of money, you know what doesn't cost money?
What?
League of Legends.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Nice segue. That's our game of the month, League of Legends.
Yeah.
Also,
it does cost money though. They fucking lie. This is not free to play. It's not free to play.
Is it free to win? Wait, is it pay to win?
No.
It's just pay.
No, but you just like get jealous of everyone having their skins and whatnot, and you end up paying.
I don't. I play Hearthstone a lot because it's pretty casual when I'm like taking a poop. And all the gold cards, because they're like, here's the card, and then it's gold and it's slightly animated, and I'm like, oh, cool, I don't care. And then like you can destroy it and get like double of what it's worth. I'm like, destroyed. Like if I already have that card. Mm-hmm. So I never care about that stuff.
Yeah. But I have turned in a couple bucks for a League, but it's not as bad as my friends who've spent like over $200 on that game.
Really?
Really.
I mean,
I don't know, man. I would never spend $200 on a game.
I liked that I went to the Riot website and there's a little tab that says games. And then it's just League of Legends.
It's just, yeah. Like, why make it plural?
Like, yeah, I think you need to get rid of that S.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Like
Frank.
Oh, crap.
You mean Frank? Yeah, Frank.
Frank.
I'll bleep it out with Frank.
Okay.
It's one of the key rules.
Frank said that Riot was like trying to work on a couple different games, but they've never like actually fallen through. They never followed through. And I don't know, man. I don't think they could ever make anything other than League of Legends and have it be as successful.
That's the it's the thing. Because League takes so much of their staff to probably just manage and update regularly. So to make another game, they'd have to like hire just as many people as they have working right now to work on a new game, and that's just a lot. I remember when Notch he was talking about his other games that he's working on, like Scrolls and something else, and he feels terrible because he's like, nothing's ever going to be as good as Minecraft, and it sucks when that happens.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you make, like, a huge game like that, because, you know, you're not going to make the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to have a different premise, but the one that you did make that got really popular, that's what everyone's going to know you for.
I'm curious what's going to happen with Five Nights at Freddy's, the developer behind that. He's making one more game in that series. He said he absolutely
I thought he said he was done.
This next one is the absolute final.
Okay.
But what he used to make were, like, these Christian games that looked like super hideous, and people said that they were scared of his characters. He was like, "Oh, I can make these characters more scary," and then that's where Five Nights at Freddy's comes from. So as an but the thing is, like, if he works with people, Five Nights at Freddy's is a really clever mechanic. I think it is. You only play it once. You don't play that game again. But I think it's a really clever mechanic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I think it's just, taking advantage of the whole horror game genre. Yeah. Limited resources, limited actions that you can do.
It does a lot right. Mm-hmm. There was a horror game I played recently that just upset me because it was terrible. Oh well. Don't remember it. Let's go back to League. And what does League is for bushies mean? Brushies?
Oh. No, I was going to say pussies, but I didn't want to type in pussy, so I said bushies.
Okay, pussy, yes. You don't want to type it in, but it's okay to say it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you asked, so I mean...
but the thing is, like, I thought you were playing off of, like, people hide in the bushes, and people... Because there are the people, because...
That's what I intended all along. You got it.
The closest I've come to playing a game like League of Legends is I used to play a lot of StarCraft 2. Mm-hmm. But I'm just, you know what, I said this last month. I don't like League of Legends.
Right. I don't like it either, but I am on the train now, and I am addicted, and
that's one thing I want to bring up. Like, my main issue with the game is it's too much. I counted how many things you have to manage in that game, like variables, during one match. It's over 30 different things. It's over 30 different
variables. I think Dota has more.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean I don't like Dota either. It's too much. And that's why why do you play the game so much? Like, why? Like,
have you ever heard of drugs?
Yeah, I know, but like, why are you addicted to it?
So there, part of me is that, like, I'm really competitive, and there's like this adrenaline that you get when you see your name on the top of the screen, and it says, like, it's your character's face, and it says, like, quadra kill. You're like, shit, I did something, and then, like, it's just like an adrenaline rush for me mainly, and also, I don't usually play by myself. That is another main thing. A lot of people play by themselves, and I think they have a different motive for playing League. But for me, it's more like a social thing. Like, I always talk to my friends. I, like, made friends online because of League. It's just, like, how I stay in contact with them without having to actually meet up with them. Like, 2 hours away. Or even, like, across, the country. There's a kid in Australia that I met.
Well, the thing is, I did that. I used to be part of, like, some clans for, like, Counter-Strike.
Right.
Oh my god, this was, like, 8 years ago. I would think I was, like, just in high school or middle school. But we had clans, and we would play with people from across the country. We had some people from Sweden in the clan. And we would play Counter-Strike, and it was an adrenaline rush, but I feel like League is a lot more addictive than those games even. And
yeah, well, also because of I think another reason why it's so addicting is because you know so many people play it, and like, I don't know, I feel like if League wasn't a huge like game, more people play Dota. But there's a reason why League is more popular, and that's because of like how simple it is compared to Dota. Like there's less to keep track of. And they've worked a lot on their animations.
Yeah, I will never say this. League of Legends looks fantastic.
It does.
One thing,
it appeals to a much wider audience.
Yeah, because of the style, and the thing is, it's going to last longer. When you go with a more stylized or cartoon style, it lasts a lot longer than the realistic any day.
I'd say that some characters in League of Legends is still pretty realistic.
But they are still like stylized color-wise sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe they're a little grotesque looking. I didn't play as many different things, but I remember there was one like spider-like guy.
Urgot?
I have no idea what his name is. There's so many people to play as. I played as maybe like 3.
That's another thing. They keep adding new characters.
And it makes you want to play.
Well, no, before there weren't that many, characters to start off. Like when I first started, there were like, how many were there? I'd say 50, maybe a little bit more than that. And then I took a break.
I kind of remember there being around like 40 or 50 when I played the first time.
Yeah. So then I took a break, and then when I got back, there were so many more champions, like all those champions that you could learn, and like it's just they keep adding stuff, they keep adding items, they keep making changes to items, they keep changing up. Like when they whole remastered the game, I almost like decided not to play anymore. Like I don't know.
This is my completely opinionated part of it, and I mean completely opinionated. I absolutely do not like it when games start to feel like you have to play them. Because you should never have to play a game.
Yeah.
One of the first definitions of games is that it has to be entered willfully, and sure you are, but if you feel like you're addicted to it or like you're doing it like that, I don't like Major League Gaming. I don't like that kind of stuff. I think it's like contrary to how a game should be. And League, I feel like kind of is built completely around it, and actually it is completely built around competitive gaming.
Well, most of their metas are developed from people who play professionally, but then you have to think like our sports in general just because people play sports competitively.
It is weird because I play sports. I've played the sport ball, but the other thing is I feel like there's a difference between the professional football player and the person who's addicted to League. Or the person.
I think it's the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I mean, think about it. Like you have a team that they're sponsored by a bunch of companies, and I've never seen an international sport being played, but you basically have these teams who are sponsored, and then they compete, and then most of the merchandising from League are based off of their professional teams. They're always shown on the login screens, like what they're up to and like the championships. League got a lot of views this last championship.
Oh yeah.
I
do want to bring up, someone tried to get like Major League Gaming in the Olympics at one point. And I'm super against that because the Olympics started as a way for every country to come together.
Isn't that what League does?
Can people in Africa play League? Do people in Kenya play League regularly? That's why soccer is the most popular sport. But like a lot of those sports and activities can be done without a computer. And many countries still don't have computer, but are at the Olympics. Only the first world nations would be able to compete.
I see.
So that's why I was against that. Like,
I'd also argue that in the Olympics there are a lot of countries who don't invest a lot of money into that particular sport, and that's why they always do bad. Like, there are some teams that they always win. Like Spain in soccer, like that's huge. But if you look at soccer in like China, they're not going to do as well.
Germany.
But yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of sports that are in the Olympics, but not all the countries can invest the same amount of money and like time, and it's just not as big in their country, but it's still available to compete in. And you're always gonna have like these countries always do best in this genre,
Yeah.
Like that's what happens. Like in volleyball, in soccer, it's just that's what I think. There's like a trend with like who does well usually. Gymnastics,
Gymnastics goes to those 12-year-old Japanese.
Yeah, 12-year-olds in China. Yeah. But I mean,
Chinese.
Like, yeah.
But one of the things, so with the addictive factor, a lot of people I used to know who played like World of Warcraft. One of the big reasons World of Warcraft was addictive and it felt like a job is because you were paying for it. So when you paid a monthly fee, you felt like, oh, I have to get the most out of it. I'm not allowed to play other games because I'm paying for this one regularly. I have to play this one.
Yeah.
With League has, I think the biggest reason I don't like it is not all the variables, not the pro sports. It's just its learning curve is so steep.
It's just gonna get steeper and steeper.
And that's the thing. It's very hard for a new player to get in. But very easy for people who have been playing the entire time to stay in. So,
well, it also doesn't help when you have the community yelling at you for doing bad.
I play every game I played online. Oh, I got bitched at. I think I got one. I didn't get a kill in half my matches, and I knew I wasn't going to because I knew I was terrible at the game. I was just like, I'll play more of a support, kind of. And I still sucked at that.
And you still feel like a bitch, because you're a support.
And I'm used to, like, being able to chat, voice communicate. And League doesn't have one supported. So I'd have to look for the messages. And it's like, get back! And, like, I'd see it after I was already dead. I'm just like, oh. Sorry, I was looking at my health and my mana and that guy's health and that other thing. I need more eyes.
Yeah, well, that's another thing, like, the more you play, it's like one of those games where you have to invest, like, hours and hours and hours into, and eventually things will become second nature, like, it just becomes, like, a habit. You're like, oh, it's been a while since, like, the jungler has, like, come into my lane. So I need to, like, start backing up and start warding more, because I think he's gonna show up. Like, that's kind of like an instinct that you start getting. Or you start going like, oh, like that person suddenly started walking back into his lane all of a sudden. Maybe he's either intimidated of me so I can get a kill, or he's trying to bait me into further going into my lane so the jungler can kill me. It's just like...
So I agree. That stuff is, like... That's why I keep wishing I could get into League, because that stuff sounds interesting to me. But every time I play it, people are going to disagree with me on this probably, but I feel it's so slow. The game plays slowly to me compared to other games, not necessarily like it, but other games with similar experiences. Because I'm clicking the mouse like so much, and my character isn't moving nearly as fast as I'm clicking, and because it's the only character I have, and it's like the main thing I'm focusing on, it's a little irritating to watch him have to walk super slowly as I'm like... and, like, I'm not getting the response, like, the feedback that I would like. And, like, I've played, platformers where, maybe some novice game designers have done this where, like, they're like, oh, when you go through a jump cycle, you crouch down, there's the anticipation, and then you jump.
Yeah.
In games, that's annoying. Because you want when you press the button, you want it to happen instantly, unless there's some sort of feedback.
Well, that's another thing. So it's kind of like when you're playing on the other person's team. The whole I think the whole point of games is that even though someone's about to use a really cool attack against you, you still need to feel like that death is justified when you have a chance to avoid it. So when there's an anticipation, the other people on the other team can see that, so they can kind of prepare themselves for what's about to happen. If they don't do anything, it's their fault.
Yeah.
So that's why they want to keep doing better. But if it's just like an instant thing, like, I mean, personally, I'd be like, well, I mean, I didn't even see that coming. Like, how was I supposed to know that, that was supposed to happen?
Well,
so, like...
Part of that learning curve was I saw so many people, like, anticipating attacks from the foes. And there was no way I could do that. I was playing, and the person turned into a dragon and, attacked me, and I had no idea what was happening. I was like, that can happen? You can just turn into, he's so much faster now. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm dead.
That's another thing, okay.
I'll buy some shoes, and then I'll be really fast. Oh, he's a dragon!
Not really. Yeah, no, that's another thing. Those are the types of things that you start recognizing the longer you play. That's why you have to dedicate, at least a year to League. And you know how much time you're wasting by doing that? Yeah, I hate it, but I love it. I'm trapped, man.
But that's like when someone described, I think it was Final Fantasy 13 to me, was, oh yeah, it gets fun after you play for 13 hours. I'm like, that's not how a game, or imagine the movie doesn't get good until hour 3. Would you really watch a 4-hour movie?
Yeah.
And Jesse Schell talks about it in his book, The Art of Game Design. The rising and falling action of a game is similar to how you want to demonstrate a performance to someone. And it's even close to how you look at the basic structure for demo reels, which we've done recently. You lead with your strongest, and then your second strongest is at the end. So your first, your intro part of the game should be enough to really hook you. Mm-hmm. He uses a juggling act as his example, and he starts off with something that's really strong, and then he goes down a little bit because now people are anticipating something, and then he picks it up, goes down, and at the end picks it up for the big finale. Mm-hmm. League is so hard to get into that it's really just an exponential curve, and that's it.
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah. But when you look at things like RuneScape, you still have those minor successes. You complete a quest.
I was level 4 and had 13,000 gold because a level 27 guy died fighting a cow in the first
And then you took his stuff.
Yeah, and I was so flabbergasted that I was just this guy with the coolest armor is fighting a cow, and the cow manages to do 1 damage to him and he dies.
Yeah.
And just adamantium armor everywhere. All this stuff I can't use. So I left that stuff, but I was ooh, 13,000 gold.
Yeah.
And I realized that guy must have been so pissed.
Because when he got back, all this stuff was just gone.
And he died fighting a cow. I put about 20 hours into this character and died fighting a cow.
He's talking to his friends about it, that cow, man, it was so big.
Dude, I thought it was a boss quest. It was so tough.
Dude, there was always that realm for members that I've never been able to access, and I don't know what it's like.
I remember I used to look at the map so often because I love fantasy maps.
Yeah.
I used to draw them in sketchbooks all the time. And I would look at the RuneScape map all the time. I was like, look at that magical island I'm not allowed to go to.
Yeah, I'm just a 10-year-old kid. What am I supposed to do? I don't have money. I can't get in there.
I really wanted to. It was so
cool looking. You know what they should have done? They should have had that accessed for 50 level plus players or something like that. And then if you wanted to get in early, you'd pay money to get in.
But the problem with that would have been, you're letting, if 50 level players are getting in, they expect level 50 stuff to fight. And if you're getting in early...
I doubt that whole region was just for fighting, though.
It probably wasn't.
Because if you're limiting access like that, you're going to want to keep playing until you're level 50. I stopped when I was level 35 or something. I didn't...
I got to level 13. Thank you very much.
We have a special snowflake here.
I think my name was, I don't remember what my first character's name... No, it was Zidane, because I was obsessed with Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
And I've talked about that on the previous podcast. Oh, you know what? No. Facebook, gave me an ad for a concert that's going on at the Cleveland Museum of Art. There's a concert for the Final Fantasy Orchestra. And they're playing Final Fantasy music. And I'm like, oh, I need to get someone to go to this. And the ad, the picture of the ad shows Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. and I look at what songs they're playing, and there are no songs from Final Fantasy IX.
Why would they do that?
Final Fantasy IX had like some amazing music.
When was this?
The concert is July 22nd.
Jeez.
So yeah, I might still go.
How much is the ticket?
Like $30. That's not. I don't think that's bad.
I might have to come and about this.
Yeah, I might go to it because I recognize some of the songs, like of course One Winged Angel.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to hear like Melodies of Life, like from Final Fantasy IX, or yeah, I know. You're Not Alone is like the famous song from Final Fantasy IX. I was just so upset because that music's so good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. If you decide to go, hit me up.
I will, because I do need. I want to go see it still, because I love orchestral music. And I love going to symphonies and stuff. And I missed the one that they did for Pixar.
They did one for Pixar?
Yeah, the Cleveland Symphonic Orchestra did like the Pixar soundtracks. And I missed that one. I missed the one where they did Fantasia. They like played the movie.
No! I didn't know they did this.
Exactly. They're doing all of this cool stuff to like get the younger audience to like go, but we keep like not knowing it exists.
Yeah, why wouldn't our school like advertise this?
I think they do. We just don't pay attention.
Oh no.
I keep getting the ad on Facebook because I clicked on it twice, so it just keeps it keeps showing Vivi from Final Fantasy IX.
False advertising.
Anyway, back to the Leagie Weigies. Is that what you guys call yourself? Is that what we call ourselves? Leagie Weigies.
The Legends.
The Legends.
No, I just call myself Trash.
So, but like the main reason I don't like League of Legends in the end is just there's just so much to it for a learning curve. And one thing I love about Hearthstone is I don't remember their slogan 100%, but I remember the first part, deceptively simple, because Hearthstone has a lot of depth to it, but it's so easy to get into, and all the variables. I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's again it's just a personal taste.
Right.
I still have my Magic cards, and well, I don't like. That's the reason I don't play Magic, because I love Magic and I love the art, but to really play it, you have to constantly throw money at it.
Yeah, that's the same with Yu-Gi-Oh.
And I don't like that. And Hearthstone's awesome because it's free and it's on the iPad. And like I've only thrown money at Hearthstone to play like the quests, like the single player things, which unlock cards. So you pay and you still get rewards, and you get to play like a single player specifically crafted quest.
Yeah.
But like they say
that's one thing. Hearthstone, games like Hearthstone, you put in money, you actually can do better in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But League of Legends, you put in money, and what do you get?
Yeah. And like some of those quests were awesome. I remember one of them, you're fighting like a frost worm, and every turn the frost worm uses its ice breath, and if your cards aren't adjacent to the center card, they die. So like you can only have 2 cards on the field at any time. And I didn't even try. I haven't even played the hard mode. Like that was already hard. And like the other one,
that's
like
something you don't want to attempt.
Yeah, the final boss actually cheats. You knock him down to a certain point, he's like, "Your turn is over. It's my turn now."
What?
And he just like ends your turn.
What?
I mean, those quests were fun, and like I felt like they were actually worth the money, because not only did I get rewards that you don't, like no other player, you don't get those cards unless you do that. You can't get them in a booster pack or anything like that. And you get to have fun with this cool single player thing.
Right.
But it's like they say deceptively simple, and all the effects for the cards are like one sentence. I was reading the description for one of my abilities Like, I just started playing this character on League, and I'm like, okay, let me read this. This is a paragraph of text!
Yeah.
This is my simple attack!
Yeah.
And then, I still don't understand it until I actually use it, and if I use it, I screw myself over because I don't know what I'm doing, and then, I lose.
Yeah.
And it takes 40 minutes to play a game, so it's not like I can just throw it away and kind of learn real quick.
Yeah.
I have to commit completely.
League is a love-hate, mostly hate, but addiction incorporated. It's like a really bad relationship.
Oh, and I should say this. All my opinions aside, I don't think that League isn't a game that shouldn't exist. I can see why a lot of people have it fun because once you're in, you're in, and there's a lot of really redeeming things about it. It's beautiful. There are a lot of cool play styles to it, and all those things we're talking about.
That they of each character has its own unique style that makes it the character it is.
Yeah, and people attach themselves to their characters and everything like that, and I see why people like it, but I just personally don't think that games should move towards this direction as often as they are.
But it is.
And it's just I feel like we're alienating because people are oh, casuals, but it's Hearthstone is casual and yet not casual.
Mm-hmm.
It's a casual game that can be played hardcore. And I feel like more games can be easily designed. Look at Brawl. Brawl, or I keep saying Brawl. Super Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers. That game is so easy to pick up and have fun, but also you can play that competitively and get really in depth with it.
Right.
Not Brawl because of tripping. They did that because they don't want to do competitive, and I'm not a huge fan of competitive, but tripping is stupid. Fighting games are all about the
wave
player.
dashing.
The player. Fighting games are all about the player having control.
Mm-hmm.
And then you took control out of the player's hand.
I think that's why Sakurai wanted the fourth one to be more party based, because he's saying Melee already is established as a competitive game.
Yeah.
And then I understand. So people just play Melee. They won't play 4.
I'm friends with someone who does play Melee competitively, and he goes to the tournaments and everything. I'm like, oh, that's neat. I'd like to play you sometime so I can get my ass rained. I was okay at Brawl, except I got so salty. Out of all the flavors I chose salty. At a tournament, I was doing really well, and then someone did the whole they killed me once, and they were Bowser, and then they did the grab and flip off the cliff 2 times.
Oh yeah.
And it was that's a very valid strategy. I have no problem with that. But man, it made me feel so upset.
The fact that he would waste a life to kill you again.
Well, it wasn't a satisfying loss.
Yeah.
It felt it was out of my control.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think things become in your control the more you know about the game.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the tournament was fun.
When you watched them compete.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this was round 1.
GG. GG.
So I didn't get to play the rest of the night.
Oh.
I played a warm-up round, and I was doing really well, and then that happened, and I was just oh, so sad.
I think that maybe the point of warm-ups is that they're not doing their best; they're just warming up.
Apparently, that was my glass ceiling. I should have just played Meta Knight.
Isn't he banned in some tournaments?
Most tournaments, yes. I think they fixed him. I have no idea. I don't know. I never played a tournament for that. Except for that one time, and it wasn't a serious tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do Bomberman tournaments, me and my friends. Bomberman was fun.
The ice cream man is by my house.
Whoa, go! I don't care about this podcast. You better go get me a Choco. Go get me a Choco Taco.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god.
I just heard like music passing by. I'm like, that's not.
I need another derpy Sonic the Hedgehog popsicle.
Blondic. Have you ever seen that video?
Oh god, yes. Have you seen Sanix? Sanix, it's this new video Rice Pirate did with Topspin the Fuzzy as an animator. He's done some Game Grumps animated, but it was just so funny. It was just like, long time no see, long time no see, long time no see. So so edgy.
So all anime.
Oh, stupid Sonic the Hedgehog. Speak of games I don't like.
So like my hedgehog, like how my sister refers
to her.
You have a
hedgehog, that's right.
Yeah, but my sister calls her like the hodgepodge. I think it's pretty cute.
Because he's so chubby.
Yeah.
He's a little chubby. It's a she.
Yeah. Well, she sticks her head in the paper tube, like the paper tube roll, and then she tries to get out of it, and she like rolls over on her back. You can see her like fat tummy like rolling around, like it's. Cute.
Yeah, you brought your hedgehog into the digital painting club meeting once, and it took a poop on the table.
Yes, it poops a lot.
Well, most things do.
Yes, but I mean not as much as this thing.
I feel like if I had a genie, one of my wishes would have to be, I wish everything in the world pooped like a rabbit.
Yeah.
Tiny, odorless pellets.
Yeah.
Poop doesn't smell. It's not hard to clean up because they're just these tiny little hard pellets.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of adorable.
Right? Rabbits made poop cute before the Japanese did.
Yeah. Oh. You went there.
What? They made poop cute.
And they did other stuff with poop.
Well.
Many things with poop.
That's the Germans you're thinking of.
It's always the Germans with you.
That's my people you're thinking of. I am German.
Confession time. I've been German all along.
Mom, Dad, I'm German.
9!
Mom, Dad, I'm black. What? How could this happen?
Did you hear about the Legend of Zelda wedding ceremony in Pennsylvania?
Was it Lonk from Pennsylvania? Is that where you were going with this, or is this a real thing?
No, it's real. I'm not even like.
Oh, Lonk.
Lonk.
Lonk from Pennsylvania.
That's great.
I think I'm going to Pennsylvania for a tournament soon. Talking to myself, not good on a podcast.
Here, I have to link this to you because they got married in I'm pretty sure it's a GameStop.
Now, oh, that's so tacky and terrible.
Yeah. Just enjoy when you get this.
I will. See, yes, I am a game designer, but I'm just going to let you know, my entire life isn't revolved around just games. Because if it was, I don't think I'd be a very good game designer. I've always viewed it that way. I had an art teacher who told me that. It's like, you don't become a good painter by looking at paintings. You become a good painter by painting and bringing your personal experiences into painting. Look at Miyamoto.
Yeah. Well, it's also like...
I'm just saying...
It's what you take with the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, like, games aren't a huge part of my life. I'm saying if you make it your entire life, it becomes stagnant. You're not drawing as much inspiration. You're only drawing inspiration from other people's inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But when you try to experience and that's another thing, Jesse Shell says, and pretty much a lot of developers and just artists in general say is, go do stuff.
Right.
It's fun. Doing stuff is fun.
Best statement in the world.
I because this is a game design podcast and not just game talk, I feel like we should talk as game designers where our inspiration comes from. A lot of my inspiration comes from gardening.
Oh yeah, you told me about your Zen garden.
Yeah, I just took it down because I'm going to change it, but this past month I have this little dragon sculpture, so I put him in the Zen garden with some crystals, and then I have all these little tiny crystals, and instead of carefully placing them around the place, I just decided to pour them all on the dragon. So, like, the dragon is, like, hoarding all of these paradots.
That's great.
Yeah, he was sitting on a giant peridot, and then a tiny little, like, mound of paradots around him. And then I had a little hobbit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
The little hobbit figurine?
Yeah, well, not from the Hobbit. Just from, like, D&D stuff. Like, I have these little Hobbit figurines that are, like, hand-carved, and I was like, oh, these are neat. And, like, I put it with the dragon. This month, I think I'm going to center it around this turtle I found. This, like, turtle sculpture.
You just found it casually?
Yeah, you can see it. No one else can unless I take a picture.
Aw.
It's a little soapstone turtle. No.
Do you ever do do patterns in the sand?
Oh yeah.
Because I can imagine it being pretty cool. Like if you do like a current type thing around the turtle.
Mm-hmm. I might just do the turtle and make it look like water. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
But I like. See, because I live in this apartment building, I haven't been able to. I do it at my my mom's place back in Akron, but like just normal gardening. Because I always view gardens as tiny tropical islands, or like weird islands. Just replace like the grass around them with like water, and the mulch is just like the land, and then all the grass and stuff is or the plants are trees and stuff. I'm like, this is cool, and I used to take like my little action figures and play in our gardens as a little kid.
Right.
And that's where Pikmin That's where Pikmin comes from. Miyamoto was gardening one day. Mario came from him looking out the window, and he like was imagining a little man running across the mountains as he was on a train.
Oh, I never.
Yeah, I mean a lot of it was that kind of stuff, but like the idea of the scrolling screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised, I don't know the details, but maybe that's why you couldn't go backwards in the original Mario.
Oh, because you're always on a train?
Yeah. You don't go backwards when you do that kind of thing. I don't know. Possibly. Everybody knows where Zelda came from.
Yeah. But I think that another part of it, like the screen not going backwards, is a game design choice.
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, nothing in game design should ever be arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
Or nothing in design in general should be arbitrary.
Speaking of growing things, I'm growing baby fish now. They're adorable, but there are so many I can't keep them all.
You and Izzy would probably get along. Izzy has 5 hermit crabs and a betta fish. Like those are the only pets that she ever likes, and like she plays with her hermit crabs and makes little like environments for them.
Aw. Yeah, hermit crabs are one thing that I did want to own, but I never did. But now I have a hedgehog. And I have a betta fish, I have 3 guppies, I have a Cory catfish, I have a pleco, and now I have this like big fat mama blue belly molly.
What is a pleco?
They're the ones that like stuck on the. I think the actual term's like plecotomus or something like that.
Yeah.
They're the ones that suck they stick on the tank glass, and they eat the algae.
Sillies.
Yeah.
But betta fish, you can get betta fish beds, and they will actually sleep on the bed.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You can get them little leaf beds, and you put them on the side of the glass, and they will actually like go onto the little leaf and like fall asleep on it. Right? Little fishy beds.
I have to look for this now.
It's pretty adorable. It's adorable for a thing that doesn't think.
Oh, I raised my betta fish from when it was like a baby, so I'm like.
I'm a dog guy. I like dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
I think dogs are like I think Up pretty much got what dogs are like. I think that's what dogs are like.
Pretty close.
Hi, I love you.
My dog is an idiot.
Yeah, they can be idiots, but they're great friends.
See, that's exactly why I love them. It's like, she's an idiot, but she's always there for me. She's my idiot.
I'm more of a cat person.
I don't like cats.
They're so independent, and they can
I want to clarify. Cats, plural. I can deal with maybe 1 to 2 cats. If you have, like, I might have talked about this before. I've had way too many cats in my lifetime. In my household, we had over 13 cats at one point.
What?
So it was a calico. Our first cat was a calico. Calicos are always female. When she had her first litter, they were all calicos.
Oh, no.
We didn't have enough money to get them all fixed. If one of them ran outside, they'd come back pregnant. Yeah. And we couldn't give them away, so it was just like, it was really difficult to finally get them all fixed. And like,
I'll take one.
We're done. We don't have any cats
take
anymore.
One.
We don't have any cats anymore.
How'd you get rid of them?
We would usually just like give them away to people. Like, we'd have like kittens and things like that. We wouldn't. We'd be careful who we gave them away to, because there is an old saying: people who don't like cats, beware people who don't like cats, because people abuse cats a lot. So we'd be really careful not to do that stuff. It was mostly friends. A lot of our friends had farms, so we'd take the cats there. Nice. Yes, and the kitty cats love the farms and everything. That's where most of them went. The other ones escaped, and now they're stray cats.
Aww.
I still see them sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, I've given them food. It's like, I don't hate them. I don't wish ill things upon them, but they destroyed our house.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And because they were all female cats, when they got in heat, which was all the time, I would try to go to sleep, and I would hear like 6 cats go, like outside of my door, and I'd get out of bed, and they'd all run downstairs before I even opened the door. I'm like, all right, that scared them off. I didn't have enough shoes to throw at them.
That is not my new ringtone.
I would actually like that as a ringtone. Like an actual cat, like just, oh my god.
Of a cat in heat.
I did that at Game Jam this year. Was when I took one of my breaks. I just I loaded up some cat videos. Because this was like at 3, because they were telling us not to stream videos, but this was 3 o'clock at night and everyone was asleep except for like me and like maybe 4 others.
Yeah. Why didn't they let us stream videos again?
It would eat up all the bandwidth of the internet.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was just like, you can use the internet,
but
for
no one was
things.
there at 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, which was against the rules.
I stream videos anyway.
It was just because try to save the bandwidth for the necessary stuff.
Yeah.
I did have a lot of audiobooks for us to listen to, though.
That's good.
Audiobooks and podcasts. Like this one.
I'd like to go to the next one.
Oh, I'm definitely going. I just hope I don't want to be the programmer again.
We should find programmers.
I mean, like, next time I will. I think something that possibly, chased people away was one thing. It was like, we're a team of all artists, and I can program, and, it was just like, oh, they have a programmer. I was like, wait, no, I can't program, but I'm an artist and a designer.
Right.
I'm, first and foremost a designer. I don't want to do I'm doing the programming.
Well, I mean, you can't, in a small group like that, you can just do both.
It's hard to do both.
Because of the time.
Yeah. Everybody ran their art by me because, some people in our group never made, a tile set before. So it was like, how do I set this up? How should I set up this sprite? Does this sprite look good? It's like, maybe some more animation, blah, blah. And we actually had assets that we didn't get a chance to use. I still have them, and we've talked about going back to the game before. We found a glitch in the game recently.
What happened?
You can fly.
Oh, is it if you tap jump repeatedly?
It only works. So here's some interesting programming mumbo jumbo. Typically, when you make a jump function, there's a variable for on the ground.
Yeah.
And like whether or not you're on the ground. And I have it set so that when you're it'll say when you're on the ground, when you're on tiles, or when like the bottom of the actor is touching the tiles, or the bottom of touching like another not an actor, the objects, because you're used to Game Maker, the objects, the characters. So characters can be on other characters like platforms, and that counts it as another you're on the ground.
Oh, do you just?
But there are two players. But because there's two players, you could stand on each other's heads, and one of you can hit jump repeatedly, and it'll say that you're always on ground, so you're always allowed to jump.
Who figured this out?
I think we did it when we were recording it for our demo reel. And because in the game, you have to be together, like you can't play it by yourself. So like, someone was hitting the jump button while he was on his head. It's like, wait, we're not supposed to be able to jump that high. Tap, 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 tap. And then he flew off the screen.
That's great.
I was like, I'm glad I put ceilings at most of this level.
Most.
And like
your game background was pretty trippy.
Well, I mean, it was 70s themed.
Yeah.
He put a lot of work into that background.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really cool background. I liked it. Hey, if you haven't already played it, go play our Game Jam games.
On the Game Jam website.
Mine doesn't work on the Game Jam website anymore.
Really?
I updated it, and it wouldn't let me re-upload it to Game Jam. But so I re-uploaded it to the site where I published it the first time.
I see.
So because there was a glitch where you would clip through the walls, and it was just because one of the collision masks was wrong, and so I fixed that.
Right.
So now you don't fall through walls. It's always a good thing.
Good. Yeah, you don't want your character to,
Oh yeah, so the game of the month was Leagie.
I think I've talked enough about that game. I mean, my opinion of it is, you're right, there are a lot of great things about it, but there are also just, bad things about it. But I think that is where gaming is gonna go to.
I mean, at least for... I can see that kind of thing. Like, the thing with competitive gaming is I just feel like simplification is so important with games that you can have a lot of variables, but the way you present them, you can make them simpler.
So you're saying, League doesn't make it simple or seem simple?
Yeah, I mean, they used a full paragraph to describe shooting an arrow.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there needs to be... And, it's hard to test it out, kind of thing, with the shooting the arrows, what does this do? And then I do it, and then I have that cooldown for a long time, and I also run out of mana and stuff like that. It's just
cooldown was one thing that I
just feel like it's a little too complex, and its learning curve is too steep.
Yeah.
Plants vs. Zombies has one of the best learning curves I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen gameplay of it, and they introduce things one by one as, and then whenever you get a new plant, you can, test it out and, see what it does. And it's the way you mix and match everything. I'd like to see some sort of competitive Plants vs. Zombies that isn't Garden Warfare. Mm. You mean, ish, or, with the whole game,
Yeah, an actual tower defense multiplayer with Plants vs. Zombies, somehow. And I think it could be done because there are multiplayer tower defense games. There's one it's every time you kill something, it puts another thing on the other person's lane.
Mm-hmm.
Or how you do things is how you send things over to other people's lanes is important.
Yeah.
Go.
No, you
go ahead.
Okay, no, it's just like one game mechanic that I've been like thinking about incorporating, but not exactly sure how. And I think it's like a pretty cool concept. Um, so it's kind of like that whole idea of like Plants vs Zombies, playing against each other, like on both sides. And instead of like killing things, like there's like a total counter on like the enemies that walk towards your lane. And when you reach that counter, then like with your your side of like attack, it'll start going towards the other in the other direction. So it's kind of like
tug of war.
It's like what? Yeah, tug of war. Except you're trying to you're like yeah, I don't want it. Like yeah.
I mean, that could be interesting. Like, I like Plants vs Zombies, especially like the mobile one, which we might do in the future someday, but not right now, because it's free. It's free and it has like 8 different levels.
Right.
It's a big game. There are tower defense board games that are pretty fun.
Like which ones?
I'm trying to remember the name of it. I found this one when I was working on a board game of my own, and the board is like circular, and it's a cooperative game, and you're all in the center. So you're playing against the board. You're playing against the game.
Okay.
So when you roll like the die or draw cards, like the monsters come in different lanes and head towards the center.
Oh no!
Like every turn, and the players have to work together to like fight off the monsters from the center.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool to see like a circular board, and that's how they did it.
The other time I've seen a circular board, I forgot what it's called. It's almost like Civilization, where you like choose where you want your like city to be, and then you make roads. You build roads.
Catan.
Yeah, Catan.
Yeah, I love Catan. That's like one of my favorite board games. I've got wood for sheep.
Wood for sheep?
Yeah, I've got wood for sheep. You in? You in?
Yes.
All right.
I feel like I just signed myself up for something crazy.
This is the only Catan joke I know.
Oh. You win.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see more of this because it's like Hearthstone is very. One of the issues with Hearthstone is there's a lot of random to it. There's a lot of chance things like they have cards with like Death Rattle and like it's like when this card dies, it does something. And some of them are when this card dies, summon a random 2-cost minion.
A random one?
Yeah.
Like, so you can't choose which ones you want to sacrifice. It chooses on...
It'll randomly, like, when it dies, it'll replace it with a, like, random thing. And there are cards that, like, deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. There's a card, deal 1 damage to all minions repeatedly, or deal 1 damage randomly to all minions until one dies. And it's like, that kind of stuff is kind of fun. Because there's enough strategy, but sometimes it's really irritating.
Yeah. Well, because like the thing is like I think there has to be a balance of random, generators in the game. Like, in League or like any other JRPG, there's like a chance of critical strike.
League has like critical strikes?
Yeah.
Huh.
Another thing to keep track of. But yeah, so like Pokemon, there's like there's like a range of how much damage you can do. That's okay, but then when you do stuff like there's a chance of like your thing falling asleep. Like if I use an attack, I expect it to make you fall asleep. But that's just me. Like for me,
especially when the attack is super weak.
Yeah, so like for me, like sometimes in like JRPGs, I just don't like it because of all like the chance that you have.
Yeah, Hearthstone's pretty good about some of this thing. Well, no, I think there is a card that's like freeze a random minion because you can freeze things. There are cards that like when this dies get a random scrap part and like it gives there are these spare parts and they all cost like 1. And it's like freeze an enemy minion, give one of your minions +1 health. Like they're all really basic, but like sometimes it can really be game changers, and it's just like,
right.
Oh, neat. Or like you have like the ultimate, like you have like a full battlefield of like 1/1s, and then like the weakest creatures possible, and then you have your one like strongest card ever, and your opponent plays destroy one enemy minion at random, and it gets your strongest one, and you're just like, I'm done, I give up, fuck, whatever. Bullshit.
Aww. Is there like online chat while you're playing?
No, they just have like little text things. A lot of games are straying away from like online chat.
I think it's just because of League. League really demonstrates like the toxic community and like how they act and how you get away with being like stupid.
Well, it's weird because Blizzard, like, I never had that with like StarCraft. People in StarCraft were always generally friendly.
Well, that's because you're like playing against them, but like when you have like someone on your team that you feel like is holding you back, you get more frustrated.
Even in the team, because I usually played 2v2.
Oh.
I never really liked 1v1. Mostly because I was bad at 1v1.
I think that's another thing, like StarCraft. There are certain types of people who play StarCraft. People who are really interested in tactical games. So there's like a mutual respect between like players. But on League, anyone can play. Anyone.
That might be an issue. I didn't mention online chat. So the only reason I want a Wii U, and I'm probably going to get one soon, is for Splatoon.
From what I've seen, that game seems so fun.
I saw that game at E3, and I was just like, must have. I was so psyched that it wasn't like a Mario game or a Zelda game. It was like, this is new, and it looks amazing.
Right.
And then like I saw like the in-depth thing, like they talked about the single player, how all the multiplayer works. Like I love the idea that you're not just going through menus, that to go to multiplayer you actually just go around this city. And then you'll like walk in someplace, and like they have like their own characters, like the pop stars who like give you the news.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so neat, and just the mechanic of the game seems so much fun and so carefree.
Yeah, I know, and it's so cute.
It's beautiful. I want it. It's like the main game I want on the Wii U.
Mhm. Now I have to get a Wii U.
Yeah, right.
They're winning. I saw there's this post on Tumblr where it's like Nintendo's like, give me money, and it's like me, okay.
Pretty much. Shut up and take my money. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what Nintendo does because they're getting into mobile.
Mm.
I want to see like a Mario and Luigi on like Dream Team thing, or like Superstar Saga on the iPad.
Oh.
You could make it, or like a Paper Mario.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool on the iPad. Look at
I can imagine that.
What was it, like Tearaway on the Vita?
Wait, what was that?
Tearaway.
Tearaway? I've never heard of it.
It was from the same people who made Little Big Planet. They made a game that was all papercraft.
Aww.
And even in the game, you could unlock papercraft printouts. And like you could send them to your a printer, and then you could actually make the papercraft, all the characters in the game as papercraft.
That's so cute.
The game was beautiful, but the whole game, it was really easy for the most part.
Mm.
But what would you do? Like there'd be like these drums, and you would tap on the back of the Vita, and it would like beat the drums. And
wait, I've seen. Yeah, okay, I know what game you're talking about now.
Or like you would blow in the mic, and it would like make all the like papers unfold, or you would tilt it, and like things would do that. You would You would touch on the back, and like your fingers would like pop up through the game world.
That's great.
Like, that could be done with like a Paper Mario-esque game, or like a Mario and Luigi game on the iPad. And I can just imagine like the attack sequences in like a Mario and Luigi game where it's like you gotta shake up and down, and then you like turn it to the side to do the damage.
Hmm. Oh, it's only $28 on Amazon. That's great.
Right. All right. Well, I guess we will wrap this up, and
all right.
It's time to announce the next game of the month.
Oh.
And I think you know what it is.
Is it what I think it is?
It's Wakfu, baby!
Yay!
So, Wakfu is a French MMO game. There's a lot of... I think I've talked about it on the podcast again. It has a lot of cool features, in my opinion. And I played it like 4 years ago. I don't remember anything about this game. But I love the show.
Yeah, the show's great.
I love the show.
You should definitely check it out. And they came out with the English dub.
I don't like the English dub. It's terrible.
I haven't checked out the English dub, but I mean, everyone was like excited that it was, but
it is. The thing is, I don't think it's bad compared to the French. I think it's just bad. All the characters sound really ridiculous and terrible.
Well, it was like a Kickstarter thing, so...
It was. It's just like, you probably could have gotten some voice actors off like Newgrounds.
That would have done a better job.
Yeah.
I think Team 4-Star could have done it better. Like, Team 4-Star is really great, because like, the Attack on Titan Abridged, like, that's exactly how I imagine all the characters to sound. It's perfect.
All I remember was Ruel, the old guy. In like the anime, he sounds kind of like an old guy. In this one, he sounds like a dad. He's like, "Oh, we gotta go this way. Here we go, you go." I'm just like, who the hell is that?
Like, who do you think you are?
I showed it to someone who'd never watched the French version, and like they were like, "That's not how I would have pictured that character to sound ever."
I think it's just when you watch the French version, you get kind of like.
But no, like they never saw the French version. They were just like, "That's not how that character would sound. That sounds weird."
Oh, okay.
Like,
I don't know. I haven't
English
checked out the
version
English dub, so.
I don't know.
I will have to check it out.
Again, opinions. But anyway, we're playing the French MMO Wakfu. It's on Steam. You can also download it from their website and play it. It's a free to play. You can pay money, but we don't condone that. You don't have to do that. Not for what we're talking about. But you should also watch the anime because it's really pretty. It's really well animated.
It's cute.
It's cute. Some of the fight sequences are awesome.
Yes, and the story's great too.
It's for the most part episodic, but the overarching story. Have you seen the special?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty good.
Oh.
The special's like 2 hours long. It's like episode. It's essentially season 2.5.
Okay.
Because I
should watch. So it'll make sense to me, like okay.
Because they're pretty much going to be coming out with season 3, I think, and this is what leads into season 3.
Ooh.
It's really cool. Like I want to spoil so much, but I can't.
Please don't.
You could probably find it online. Did you finish the second season?
No, I'm halfway through the second season, so I don't.
Yeah.
I'll have. The thing is, like, I have to watch it with my friends too.
Nox is the villain of the first season, and he's in the first episode. He's one of my favorite villains, like, out of anything.
Yeah, I know. Like, the way that they wrote him, it was beautiful.
He was such a good character.
Hi, Dad.
Well, I don't need to know.
No.
Anyway, we'll
on that note.
Next game of the month is Wakfu, and we will see you then. Signing out, this is Robert Lauer, and...
Margaret Lee, peace out.
Later. Leagie Weigies. Later.